Hello everyone and welcome to another week in my 4th grade classroom. Today is Monday, April 25th. It is the start of week 33 out of the 39 school weeks that we have this year. I know the year is coming to a close pretty quickly. Next week, our students are going to be taking the FSA reading assessment, and the week after that, they'll be taking the math FSA assessment. This morning, the students were working on their weekly language review, and I also gave them a reading passage to review events in a story and details. And then they went ahead and they took their Unit 5 weeks 3 and 4 assessment that they haven't been able to take because I've been sick. So they took it this morning. I gave the students some feedback. We debriefed it afterwards. And then we went ahead and continued working with our Haiku poem assignment that we started last Friday on Earth Day. So let me show you my final product. And then I had enough time that I created another one on the back. So here is the haiku. I did it on the ocean and I drew a picture to go along with it. That's what the students did as well. And on the back, I did one on butterflies and I drew this picture. Most of the students are done with this assignment, so I'm very happy that they were able to do that. Another highlight from today is that the students finished the movie WALL-E, which we started last Friday, so that we can wrap up on our Earth Day topic. And I didn't actually put the agenda on the board, which is why I didn't show you a glimpse. So that is pretty much the highlights from today. Let me show you what I put together for homework for my students this week, since I want them to review some reading skills as well as the math skills for the entire school year. So this comes from our Wonders practice for test prep. So I gave them this poem on the jellyfish dance, and then they have some FSA style reading questions to answer on that. And this comes from our regular Wonders Unit 5, Week 5 that we're going to start reviewing this week very quickly. This one is on the essential question, how can learning about the past help you understand the present? So this passage talks about Egypt, and I have them complete a chronological order organizer based on 4 events that are discussed in order in the passage, and then they answer these questions. And in math, I gave them the Go Math End of the Year test, which reviews every single math skill for the year so that the students have an opportunity to review it, and then we can discuss it together as the week goes on so that I can have an opportunity to reteach any skills as needed. And that, my friends, are the highlights from today, Monday. I will see you all tomorrow. We are now at the end of the day on Tuesday. Students are dismissed, and I just want to give you a rundown of our day today. I did write an agenda today, so I'll show you a glimpse of it and some of the highlights from today. Here we are, and we started the day with our weekly language review and a protein passage because I'm reviewing different skills every morning since they're taking their test next week. But as you can see by the checks, we got through most of everything except for the flow map for the shared read, which we'll talk about tomorrow. And in opinion writing, we were working on introductions, having students sit in the author's chair to share their introductions, and then we went over stars and wishes, so I'll show you that. Tomorrow we're going to continue doing that along with our body paragraphs. We got through all of math, and we went ahead and did social studies at the end of the day. So I finally got to introduce Unit 5, Week 5 to my students since I was sick and I wasn't able to do it. We are supposed to actually start Unit 6, Weeks 1 and 2 this week, but I need to make sure I go over these skills, which are going to just take up these next couple of days, and the students will take the test on those skills this Friday. Since Week 5 of every unit that we have in our new Wonders series is very short, and it just deals with Time for Kid passages. So let me go ahead and show you that passage along with a glimpse of our weekly language review for this week. So here's what we worked on so far for our weekly language review. Today we worked on Tuesday, going over all of these skills. And this is the passage that we worked on, which again comes from our Wonders Florida Test Preparation and Practice. This one goes over the skill that we're currently working on in our current Wonders unit, which is main idea and summarizing. So it was a very short passage so that we can pinpoint the main idea and look at important details in the passage that will help us then create a summary. And then after that, I introduced the unit with the essential question. We did the study sync. I did the read aloud. And then we reread the shared read since the students had done it on their own before we did it together with me. So we worked on that and we reviewed the skills. And then it was time for writing. So let me show you the quick little PowerPoint that I showed the students this morning to help them understand how we give feedback through stars and wishes. So this is a little presentation that I have put together in the past. It goes over what stars are, and in looking back at this, I need to change the color of the text to white maybe so it can stand out a little bit more. But it does go over stars, which are compliments, positive things we like with their writing. And we always start our feedback with stars, and after we give our stars, we give wishes. So obviously I modeled this with my writing first, and then I had students volunteer to come to the author's chair and put their writing under the document camera so they can share it and we can give them some nice constructive feedback. And I did share with them these different statement starters so that they can give stars and wishes as they provide feedback to their peers. So after that, of course, we worked in math, and in math we did our weekly math review. And since we didn't do it yesterday, we worked on Monday and Tuesday today. And here are the skills that we worked on. I really like these because it helps review different skills that we have learned in previous chapters. Right now, we're in the very last chapter of our Go Math book, which goes over area and perimeter. So we're also reviewing that in this particular weekly math review. And tomorrow they'll work on completing Wednesday. So then we did a quick review of perimeter and area. Tomorrow we're going to go over the area of combined rectangles. And then it was time for lunch. Then we had recess, music, and after music, we worked in our chapter 8, the peopling of the United States. So what I did today is, because this is a chapter that has been lingering for a couple weeks now because I've been sick these past couple weeks, we haven't really had a chance to do it together. I did leave it for my students to read it on their own when I wasn't here, but I want to make sure I go over it with them. So what I wanted to do so that it's a little bit quicker to go through the chapter, I created notes for the chapter handout so that the students can grab notes on each of the 5 groups of people that the chapter deals with, and that way they can review the information and eventually be able to do well on the chapter test before we move on to the next chapter. So this is the handouts right here that I created. So these are the 5 groups of people. And today we read about the American Indians and started reading about the Latinos. So the chapter pretty much talks about how each group arrived to the United States and the contributions that they have made. So over here, we wrote information about how American Indians are thought to have arrived to the Americas and some of the contributions based on what the chapter shared. And we got to how the Spanish explorers and Latinos came to the Americas. And next, we're going to add the contributions that they have made to the United States. They also draw a symbol or small pictures that represent each group's contribution as shared in the chapter. So that, my friends, is basically all the learning that we accomplished today. And tomorrow is Wednesday, and we'll continue a lot of these. So I can't wait to share with you what we end up doing. But for now, I'm going to leave you, so I'll see you tomorrow. Hello everyone and welcome to Wednesday at the end of the day. I just finished a Miami Learns PD that my school was hosting for teachers of our school, and the title of it was From Stress to Resilience, and it was a very nice PD. It's a 2-day PD. Today was the first day and we just wrapped up. So today we were going over different factors that affect our stress and different behaviors and attitudes that may affect our stress or our job overall. And then our art teacher went over Neurographic Art, which was a very great exercise. We just went over and did some scribbles, rounded the corners of our scribbles. They sort of look like neurons. And then we added shapes and patterns. And basically, before you created it, you were thinking of a problem or something that was kind of bothering you or worrying you at the moment. And as you're thinking about that, you're scribbling, and then you turn something beautiful out of that. You transform that worry or whatever is stressing you into something beautiful, and then you can add color. So I do want to show you what I created. But before I do that, let me give you a glimpse of our agenda today. There were some things that we didn't get to, and that's just the nature of today being Wednesday. And also, at the end of the day, we we didn't fully get to social studies because my students were getting their iReady treats for doing iReady from last week, which they got snow cones, which they tend to get towards the end of lunch. So it took a while for me to wait for them to eat it, and then went back to the classroom, and then by the time we got to the classroom, we only had a few minutes left. So I just ended up finishing the day with a video from Vocabulary on Jamestown, since we were reading about it in reading. So here is our agenda. As you can see from the checks, we got through all of reading, and I'm going to show you this in a moment. And we didn't have enough time to do writing, so I am pushing it to probably Friday, since tomorrow's Take Your Child to Work Day. We got through all of math, which is super important. And again, I already let you know how we ended the day with our social studies. So yeah, today in writing, I wanted to continue the stars and wishes, but with the body paragraphs, but we're gonna have to postpone it for Friday. Tomorrow, I'm not gonna be able to do it because I have a couple of students that will not be coming to school because they're participating in Take Your Child to Work Day. So obviously I don't have everyone here, so I'm not going to move on and do something new. But for the students that are coming, I am planning on doing some FSA review and just working with them one-on-one on different skills that I feel that they need. And I think there might be an online event happening for Take Your Child to Work Day that I can tune them into through our Promethean board, so they can watch and learn about different jobs and hear from experts in those fields. So let me go ahead and show you how we started the day, because we did have another passage that the students were going over along with their weekly language review. And then I also want to show you the paper that we were working on in reading. So here is our weekly language review and the skills that we were working on this for today. And here is the reading practice passage. It was on the benefit of books, so they had to read this. And after they were done reading, they needed to answer questions about the main idea, key details. Again, with the key details, they had 5 questions in total that they were working on. And I also showed them the process of elimination as one strategy that they can use when taking a test. And then they went over an idea for the whole entire passage, sentence that supports that, and then the summary of the passage. In reading, we were rereading the founding of Jamestown and completing this flow map to show the different events that were important in the entire passage. And then the students were answering some reading response questions, which these come from our district resources. So I had them here and the students would answer them. And then I added one more where they can summarize the entire passage. And of course, it became easy to summarize since they were using information from the flow map. Then in math, we were working on the Wednesdays math skills. So we were working on this, and these questions came from the line plot that we completed yesterday. And I was showing the students how to work on finding the area of combined rectangles. So the green lines were not there. We made the green lines to separate the different rectangles, find the area of each separate rectangle, add the area so that we can come up with the entire area of the shape. Now, obviously, I did this one going vertically down, but they could have also drawn horizontal lines to separate this and this into different rectangles and this big one down here. And I make sure that I went over how we determine the sides that we are multiplying. So for this one, it was pretty easy. It was just 8 times 4, which is 32. The same thing over here, 8 times 4 is 32. But for this one, they have 16 and they have 8. So they needed to find out that 16 was this entire piece, but they only needed this piece. So if this is 8, then this is 8. And they needed to figure out this side. Well, this whole side is 8. And if this side is 4, then this side is also 4. So they could just do 8 times 4, and this is also 32, which is why we added 32 3 times, or 32 times 3, and we got 96. So this is part of the complex skills for the current chapter that we're wrapping up. Again, this is a skill that the students just need more practice on, and the more practice they have, the more comfortable I think they'll feel with this type of assignment. So once we went over that, the students started taking their mid-chapter checkpoint. Some of them are not done, so we'll work on that on Friday when everybody is back. And if they still have questions on how to solve the area of combined rectangles, I can go ahead and provide them with that support. So that pretty much wraps up our day with the students. So let me now show you some of the little highlights from the professional development activity that I just finished working on with my fellow colleagues. So first, these different words were given to us, and then we just had to put them in the order that we thought that they belonged in. And after we did that, we did what it's called speed dating, or going around and meeting with different people. So we had music playing in the background and we were dancing around the room. And then when the music stopped, we stopped and talked about why we ordered these the way that we ordered them. And we did that one more time. After that, he went over the actual order. So first is teacher behavior, followed by student outcomes and teacher attitudes. And this is based on a philosopher that has done research on this. And yes, I doodled my paper, so as you can see. And then here's the neurographic art that I created. So again, I thought about something that was keeping up my mind, making me maybe stress or worry. And then I started drawing different lines throughout the paper, and then we started to round the corners. See, they kind of start looking like neurons. And then I added circles or different shapes around, and then some color. I am going to leave it like this. I feel like this is enough color for it. And this is something that I can hang up and admire and think about so that I can see how I transformed something that started out maybe a little bit chaotic, but I transformed it into something beautiful. And this is a great activity for you to do. And now I'm going to try to remind myself whenever I'm having a day where I'm feeling a little bit stressed out, just take out a piece of paper and start scribbling, thinking about what is the thing that is stressing me out, and then make something beautiful about it. And in doing so, it's kind of like a meditative strategy or activity that can help you keep your mind out of it and start feeling like at peace. So I really love this part of the presentation. It was a really great activity, all in all, the entire thing. And tomorrow we have our second day, which will be virtually through the computer. So I'll probably be doing that from home since we're starting a little bit later than today. Oh, and I also wanted to add that they did give us some tea at the end. So I really, really appreciated that as well. All right, and that is all that I have to share for today. I am going to change my clothes. I did schedule my Orange Theory class a little bit later than usual. I wish I would have scheduled the 5:30 class, but I don't have class until 6:45. So that's a whole hour and 45 minutes from now. So I think I'm just gonna hang out in my classroom for a little bit, or maybe go out and maybe grab something to eat before class. I do have a snack that I can just eat before class, and enjoy my class this afternoon, and then go home and relax for the rest of the evening. And I'll do it all over tomorrow. Although tomorrow's gonna be a little bit different because it is Take Your Child to Work Day, but I'll be sure to share how that day goes. So I'll see you then. Hello everyone, welcome to the end of the day on Thursday. So like I mentioned earlier this week, today was Take Your Child to Work Day. So I thought I was gonna have maybe half of my students come and half of them go with their parents, but I only had 5 kids today out of my 19 students. So this morning what we did is they were working on making sure they finished their iReady minutes in both reading and math, as well as their reflex math. And if they were done with all of that, they could go to iExcel and work on some math problems or SumDog or Mayan reading. So we did that this morning, and then they moved up our lunchtime a whole hour earlier because there's not a lot of kids in the school today. So we had our lunch at 11, and then when we came back from lunch, we had our 30 minutes of recess, and then it was time for the virtual event for the Take Your Daughters and Sons to Work Day. That is from their website, and we watched it a little bit, and then I introduced them to their project that they were working on for the rest of the day, which is okay if they didn't finish because it was just a project to get them thinking about their dream job. I told them it's okay if that's not the job that they end up getting, but what job are they interested in at this point? So we did that. I'm going to show you. That is a handout that I created. And they didn't get to the poster part, but it's okay. At the end of the day, the 20 minutes that we had at the end, my other teacher from my 4th grade team was going to take her students out to the field for the last 20 minutes just so that they can run around and play. And that's what I did. So we joined them, and that's how we finished the day. All the buses were here on time, which was awesome. And now I'm going to gather my things. It's like literally 3:28, which is like unheard of for me to leave at contract time. Contract time is 3:25, so I'm not even living at that, but super close to that, because I'm going to go home and I'm going to log in to the virtual PD, which is part 2 of the one that I did yesterday. So this one is all online, and it starts at 5:30. So I have enough time to get home, relax, get something to eat or snack on. And then that's how I'll end my evening. And tomorrow, it's another day with the students. So let me go ahead and show you this quickly. One thing that I did do while the students were working in iReady to get myself ready for next week, I already did my lesson plans for next week, and I planned what I needed to make copies of and things like that. So I'm so glad that I had the time to do that. So here's the sheet, my dream job project. So they did research on the computer. I just chose marine biologist because I really think that's a very interesting field. And they answered all these questions to gather information on that particular job. They completed this closed paragraph. And then on the back, it gave them instructions on the poster that they can create. So for example, if my job is to be a teacher, I'm going to draw a picture of me being a teacher, reasons for wanting that career, some fun facts, the starting salary, the level of education, and a little bit of a job description. So that is the criteria and the guidelines for the poster for this particular project. These are my lesson plans for next week. So here are my math, science, and social studies lessons for next week. And here are my reading ones. And yes, we're doing the state test on Monday and Tuesday for reading. So that's going to take up our morning time. But then this is for the rest of the week. And this is for science. Next week, we're going to go over the life cycle of Florida animals. So we have the butterfly and we have the American alligator. And we're also going to go over the life cycle of Florida plants. So we have the orange tree right here, as well as labeling the parts of the flower. And for math crunch time, I'm going to make copies of this. This is a packet that our district provides, which has some resources from Go Math. And it's broken up into different domains. So here's geometry, measurement and data, number and operations fractions, operations in algebraic thinking, and number and operations in base 10. So all of that is going to get copied for next week so that we are ready to go with our learning. So that's all I have for today, Thursday. I will catch up with you tomorrow. Hello everyone and welcome to the end of the day on Friday. So today was a day full of reading reviews since the students are taking the FSA reading test next week, Monday and Tuesday. I did not put an agenda on the board. I basically gave them their weekly language review, which we went over. And we also did another passage reviewing poetry and drama structures, comparing them to prose. So it was a really quick review. And then after that, I went ahead and reviewed how their test is going to be broken down, what are the different clusters for the different kinds of reading standards that they'll be assessed in. And then I went ahead and did a little game, a review game with them, using one of our Wonder resources that goes over the different reading standards with very short passages so the students can review each of those standards with simple questions. And I just grouped them into houses, just like we have our classroom houses. And I ended up buying a resource from my dear friend Joanne Miller, Head Over Heels for Teaching on Instagram. She has these game boards, and one that I used was Race to the Finish. So I took a snapshot of that one and set it as a background on classroom screen, and then used their house shields as little tokens that they can move around the game board as they answered questions. And what I love about classroom screen is that the dice is already on there, so the students would just click on the dice to roll it and see how many spaces they were traveling on the game board. So I want to show you that really quickly because I thought it was really cool. Give a shout out to my friend Joanne, and also let you know about her resource, which I'll link down in the description box below in case you're interested in purchasing it. So here are the final standings for our game today. We are going to continue on Monday after the students finish testing so that we can continue reviewing reading standards. But basically, Revert is very close to the finish, followed by Valor. Urifiki is right behind, and then here is Calosini. And here is the dice. And you can choose 2 or 3, but we're just choosing 1. And the students will click on here, and they will see how many spaces they would just click and drag their little icons, or in this case, their house shields. So again, this is Classroom Screen, classroomscreen.com. It is a free site. Let me show you quickly how I did this. So I am going to go to a new Classroom Screen page, and I am going to launch it. I do not have an account, so I'm just going to click on Launch, and automatically it comes with a default background. So I'm going to go to Background, and I have already saved it as a screenshot that I took of the game board. So I'm just going to find it in my files. And once I find it in my files, it shows up right here so I can choose it. As you can see, it kind of goes off screen. So what I do is I go over here to crop, and now it's cropped to the page. Another thing that I do is, in order to get the little house shields, I'll go to media down here. I click on image. I click on drag and drop. You can drag and drop, but I have all my shields right here. So I can just open them, and I can click on this little square down here in the lower left corner so it can resize it. And I can go here and resize it so that they can fit in the little squares over here. So I did that for each of my houses. So I'm going to do that really quickly right now, just repeating that process of choosing the image, clicking over here and dragging this so that I can resize it. So let me do that for the other ones. And once I have all of them here, what I did is I chose a representative from each team to come to the board to roll the dice. So to get the dice, I just click on dice down here, and then I just moved it off to the side and had each person roll a dice, just like you do in Monopoly. And once I got all the numbers, I determined the order of which houses were gonna go when. And if they happen to get the same number, they would just roll the dice again. Then I hit the bottom over here, and then I worked on the resource that I had the students answer the questions from. So I currently don't have it open. I thought I did, but I have some other things open here. But once we were answering questions, each house had an opportunity to discuss and choose the answer. They will roll the dice. And once they roll the dice, here I have a 3. I would just go 1, 2, 3, and move my piece there. So the point of this is to see which house or which team will get to the finish. But again, you could do this with any question, with any resource, with any subject in your classroom, and I absolutely love it. So shout out to Joanne for this amazing game board. I love Attack the Castle, as I've shared in the past, but this is a new favorite, and it's always nice to switch it up and introduce the students to something new. They were highly engaged and they really loved it. By the way, these images are from my house resource guide, which do come with the images that you can use and you can insert just like I have here. I have also inserted in the Wheel of Names, which I have right here. So Wheel of Names is another free site. So this I use with my Attack the Castle, where I get to spin and I set up my Wheel of Names. I did the advanced one where I can choose an image to go on each, piece of the pie. And I can also go ahead and hide each person so that everyone else gets an opportunity. And then I can make them appear again and I can shuffle them so that it gives me random results. So I use those images for the Wheel of Names, and now I'm using it for Race to the Finish, which I have put on classroom screens so that everything is digital and the students were coming up to the board to roll the dice and move their pieces on the board as they answered questions. So that definitely was a big highlight for the day. The students really enjoyed it. We did have a fire alarm go off this morning, so we were out for a bit in the morning before we started playing our game. And then after that, we had lunch. After lunch, we had recess, and they had PE. And after PE, we continue with the game, which we didn't finish, so we'll continue, like I said, on Monday afternoon. So that's basically the big highlight for today. And I just wanted to give you that glimpse of how I use that review game, which you can use with any subject, any grade. And I really love being able to use it on classroom screen. Oh, and today I revealed today's happy note, which is so perfect. Life is better in pajamas. Oh my gosh, that is so true. I can't wait to get into my pajamas this evening, but right now I'm gonna get ready to meet some teachers at a restaurant. We're gonna hang out for a bit, but I'm not gonna close out the vlog yet because tomorrow is the last day of Saturday Academy for math. So I will see you tomorrow. Hello, it is now Saturday and we just finished our last session of Saturday Math Academy, and the students are all dismissed and all went home. So I'm back in my classroom to wrap up this week's vlog. Today we started with a Gimkit activity where the students were practicing multiplication, and then we went ahead and worked on our division strategies today, and we did a full rotation where they met with me. Some students worked on their own independently and some students worked on the computer with IXL. And after that, I did the last lesson with them, which was on solving multi-step problems where they needed to find the answer and write the equation to find the answer. And after we reviewed that, the students worked on some problems, and then I did another Gimkit. That one was a bit more challenging because they had to actually type the equations, but they got a hang of it. And it was Humans versus Zombies, the version in Gimkit. So we did that. At the end, Humans won. I also play with the kids as a character. So I was in the human team. So that was fun. And yeah, it was great. And they just got their snacks and were dismissed. So another great day for Saturday Academy and the last Saturday for me this year. I can't wait to get my Saturdays back because I so miss sleeping in. Like today, I know I'm gonna go and take a nap. But for now, I am gathering my things because Orange Theory Fitness is having a brunch for all the Transformation Challenge participants, which includes me. They're having a nice little brunch for us. I'm going to go over there and enjoy. So that is the end of our vlog for today, or for this week. I hope you enjoyed coming along with me. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought or any questions you may have. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell for notifications so you don't miss any future videos. I hope you have a beautiful, magical day, and don't forget to smile. Hello, dreamers, wishers, and magical thinkers. Thank you so much for making it to the very end of this video and for showing your support. If you'd like to subscribe, you can do so by clicking on my picture down here. You can also check out my latest videos here and here. Don't forget to believe in the magic that's inside you, because you are capable of great things. See you next time.